This video will go over the 7.0A and Section 7.1B practice knowledge check. So for each of these shapes, you want to find the area and the perimeter, or if it's a circle, the circumference. Make sure to show the formula, the substitution, your work, and the units, and then use 3.14 for pi. So in number 1, you have a parallelogram. And the formula for the area of a parallelogram is base times height. So the base of your parallelogram and the height are perpendicular to each other. So the base would be 5, and then for the height is drawn on the outside. So you want to look for where the base and the height form a right angle. So in this case, it's on the outside of the parallelogram. There is a box that indicates that there's a 90-degree angle at that point, and so the height would be 3.5. So what you do is you replace b with 5 and h with 3.5, and then you multiply that out to get your answer. So you get 17.5 centimeters squared for the area of the parallelogram. Don't forget your units. And then now let's figure out the perimeter. So for perimeter, that is the sum of all the sides or the side lengths. So what you want to do is figure out what the side lengths are. So this left side is 4. In a parallelogram, opposite sides are the same. So it means on the right side would also be 4 centimeters. If the base is 5 centimeters, that means this top length would also be 5 centimeters because that's also considered a base. So you can just add up all the sides, 4 plus 4 plus 5 plus 5. So you get 8 plus 10, which gives you 18 centimeters. So for perimeter, it's just the units. So in the blanks, you can fill the area out, 17.5 centimeters squared. And for perimeter, you can fill that in as 18 centimeters. Okay, in number 2, you have a trapezoid. So make sure you know what the names of these shapes are, just so that you have all the formulas very clear. So for the area of a trapezoid, it's either 1/2 times the height times the sum of the bases. So B1 means base 1 plus B2 means base number 2. Or you might have seen it as the height times base 1 plus base 2 all divided by 2. Both formulas work. So with a trapezoid, we have a height which would be perpendicular to both bases, and the bases in a trapezoid are parallel to each other, and they're also different lengths. So the two bases would be perpendicular to the height, which is 6 meters. So for number 2, the height would be 6 meters, and then the base 1, we'll call that 8 meters, and base 2 would be 12 meters. So what you do is you plug in those values into your formula, 1/2 times the height, which is 6, times base 1, which is 8, plus base 2, which is 12. So you could take half of 6, which is 3, and then the sum of 8 plus 12 would be 20. And then 3 times 20 would give us 60. So it'd be 60 meters squared for the area. Now for the perimeter, it's also the sum of all the sides. So you just want to include the outer side lengths. So that would be 7, 8, 5.2, and 12. You do not include the height unless the height is a side of a trapezoid, then you would include it. But in this case, the height is drawn on the inside to show the distance between the two bases. It's not actually one of the side lengths, so you have to be careful with that. So you'd have 7 plus 8 plus 5.2 plus 12. Go ahead and calculate that using a calculator if you need to. And you end up getting 32.2 meters. So you can record your answers below. Okay, in problem number 3, you have a triangle. So for the area of a triangle, it's 1/2 the base times the height, or sometimes you'll see base times height, that product divided by 2. So plug in your base and your height into your formula. So you need to make sure you can identify which one's the base and which one's the height. So the base and the height would be perpendicular to each other. So the side lengths that are perpendicular to each other would be 6. That would be the height. And then the base would be 8. So all you have to do is plug it into your formula. 1/2 times the base, which is 8, times the height, which is 6. And then you can take half of 8, which is 4, and then 4 times 6 would be 24. And since we don't have specific units, we would just say units squared or squared units. Okay, now for the perimeter, again, you want to add up the side lengths. So the side lengths would be 7, 7, and 8. The height is not included in here because the height is drawn on the inside to show you what the distance between the top point on or vertice on your triangle is and the base, but it's not one of the side lengths, so watch out for that. Unless it's a right triangle, then you would use the side length as the height as one of the side lengths, but in this case we don't have a right triangle. So add up 7 plus 7 plus 8. And you get that the perimeter is 22 units. So make sure to record your answers below. For number 4, we have a complex figure here. So to find the area, you would have to look at what shapes you have. So what I would do is notice how you have this shape and it looks like the corner has been cut out. So what I would do is I would sketch in that corner. And so what it looks like is you have a rectangle that is 7 by 7.9 feet. And then you have another rectangle that's been cut out. Okay, so you want to take the area of the original rectangle and you want to subtract the area of the corner rectangle. Okay, so to find the area of a rectangle, it's base times height. So what you're going to do is find the area of one rectangle and then subtract the area of the other rectangle, which is also base times height. So let's be careful about this. So with the rectangle, the original rectangle has the height of 7.9 and the base is 7. So let's plug those in. So we're going to take 7 times 7.9. Okay, and now for this area that's been cut out, if you look at the dimensions, the height would be 4.5 and then the base would be 3. So I'm going to plug those dimensions in. So minus 3 times 4.5. So simplify that expression. So you get 55.3 minus 13.5, and then when you subtract those values, you get 41.8, and the units for that would be feet squared. So I'm going to write down my area is 41.8 feet squared. Now to get the perimeter, remember that the perimeter is the sum of all the sides. So we already have this left side is 7.9, this top side is 7. We have this inner side that's 3, and then this other side that's 4.5. We have a couple dimensions that are missing, and we need to figure those out. So let's look at this bottom length that we don't know, that I'm highlighting. So notice how the top length is 7. Because this originally was a rectangle, that means the top length and the bottom length altogether would have to be 7. Okay, so if this piece here is 3, that means this bottom piece was originally 3 as well. So now to get this length that's missing, the original length was 7, so we have to take 7 minus 3, which is 4. So that means this missing length down here would be 4 feet. Okay, and now to figure out this missing length, notice that the original height was 7.9, so it means the original height on the right side had to be 7.9 as well. So to get that missing piece, we would have to take 7.9 minus the 4.5 feet here, because if this length is 4.5, that means this original outer length was also 4.5. So we have to take 7.9 minus 4.5 to get the value of that length, and we get 3.4. Okay, so that piece would be 3.4. Okay, so now to get the perimeter, we would add up all these side lengths, and I know this diagram's getting messy. So you would add 7.9, 7, 3.4, 3, 4.5, and 4. Okay, so I'm going to have to use the bottom part of my paper. So to get the perimeter, you want to get the sum of all the sides. So take 7.9 plus 7 plus 3.4 plus 3 plus 4.5 plus 4. And you get a grand total of 29.8 feet.